Hi everybody, welcome back. So, if you've just begun your walk with Christianity, and I guess that's probably while you're watching this channel, or if you're returning after some time away, I want to share something with you, something sacred, something that could steady your heart in this new chapter. It's something that I don't want you to base your faith upon, but it is something that can reinforce your faith as well. So what I'm talking about is the Shroud of Turin, and this is an ancient piece of linen that carries the faint outline of a crucified man. You may well have heard about it before, and you may well have heard it being debunked as well before, but new science and new things have come out about it. And in the description below this video, I'm going to do links to lots of really great videos and articles about the Shroud of Turin, so that you can add more of a scientific background than I can give you to whether the Shroud of Turin is true or not, because I do believe that this is the burial cloth of Jesus Christ. And for centuries, people have questioned it, studied it, and debated it. But what we found is, as the science digs deeper, it's not tearing this mystery apart. It's slowly showing us that the shroud may be truly what I know it to be, a witness to the resurrection. And that's what's really important about the Shroud of Turin. Not only does it give us proof of Jesus and the crucifixion, but it gives us proof of the resurrection as well. So let me take you through this kind of step by step as best as I can, so you can see what it could mean. I pause when I say for your faith, because you shouldn't base your faith on an object like this. But in an age where science is so important to us, because we've been taught it all our lives, things like this are very, very exciting when you think about what it means, what the consequences are for the shroud being true. So, picture this: a simple linen cloth about 14 feet long, and it's about 3.5 feet wide. On it, there's an image that you would miss it at first, especially if you were close to it. And it's a man who endured unimaginable pain. His wrists and feet bear the marks of nails. His side a wound like a spear's thrust, just as the Gospels describe Jesus' crucifixion. For hundreds of years, this image stayed quite an enigma. Then, in 1898, a man named Seconda Pia photographed it. This is like near the dawn of photography. And when he developed the negative, because if you don't know, what happens is when you take a photograph with a film camera, an old-fashioned film camera, or in this case it was a camera that used glass for film, when you develop it, so you add chemicals so that the image comes up, it's a negative, so white is black and black is white. But when he did this and that negative image appeared, he saw something extraordinary. The shroud's true detail came alive, a clear, haunting figure that the naked eye alone couldn't really grasp. It's as if the cloth held a secret, waiting for the right moment and the right technology to reveal itself. So the shroud story stretches back through time. We first hear about it in the 14th century, held by a French knight named Geoffrey de Charnay. Some people think it's even older, tied to a cloth called the image of Edessa, spoken of in ancient writings as bearing Christ's face. By the 1500s anyway, it came to rest in Turin in Italy, and it's faced fires, wars, and the weight of centuries, yet it endures because of what it's made of. This material will last thousands of years. We've got examples of Egyptian dresses from tombs that are even older than this, and the material doesn't just rot away like modern day paper would or modern day cloth would. But to me, this survival is no accident. It's been kept safe, almost as if God wanted for us to have it, to be able to ponder its meaning and to be able to discover its truth. In 1978, a group called the Shroud of Turin Research Project, STURP, got a rare chance to study the shroud with tools no one had used on it before. They brought something called the VP8 image analyzer. Actually, I don't know if they brought it with them or they fed photographs into it. But what it does, it turns brightness into three-dimensional shapes. And this is a bit of a strange concept. But what they found was staggering. The shroud's image isn't flat like a painting. It holds 3D information. So let me step back a little bit and kind of explain that. So this image analyzer that NASA have, the reason why they had it was so that when they took a photograph of, say, a moon or a planet, they could then take that photograph, feed it into the image analyzer, and the image analyzer would look at the photograph, look at the intensity of the grayscale. You could say, the brightness of the different bits on the photo, and then work out how high, for example, a hill or a mountain would be, or how deep a trench would be, and then create, almost like you could create like a 3D image from that. So it's quite a fancy bit of kit. And what they found is that when they put the pictures from the Shroud into this machine and it did its analysis, you got a 3D image, which is really strange. It's really strange because if you put normal photographs into the image analyzer, apparently they don't come out like that at all. They just come out as a mess. You don't get a 3D image. So one of the scientists, John Jackson, said it plain and serious. This is the image of a real crucified man. It's not something made by human hands. And to me, that's science catching up to what faith kind of already knows. Now, that photographic evidence, that negative from 1898, ties into this too. When Secondo Pio saw that reversed image, so vivid, so real, it proved the Shroud wasn't just a faded sketch. It's like a locked vault that modern tools finally opened, and the Stirp team found no paint, no dye, just a thin layer of discoloration on the fibres. So how did it get there? Some say it could have been a burst of energy, like radiation might have done. Others talk about chemicals from a body. But none of these ideas explain it fully. I believe there's only one moment that could have left this type of mark, and it's the resurrection, when Christ rose and something divine touched that cloth. So the idea is that this cloth, it's not like a mummy cloth that's wrapped tightly over Jesus' body. It's almost like a pillow cloth, so his body's lying flat on a piece of the cloth, and then it's folded over his head, and it's just lying almost flat over him. That's why you see the image in the way it is, and it's not distorted. And then perhaps at the moment of the resurrection, remember, we have there's nothing written down about the moment of the resurrection. Nobody was there. It's not in the Gospels. Maybe at the moment of resurrection, there was this massive burst of light, and often Jesus is described when in the Gospels and in later scriptures as well as being incredibly bright. But at the moment when his life force or spirit force came back into the body, there was this massive burst of light, and that created that photographic image on the cloth. It's a byproduct, I think. It would be fair to say. There was this massive flash of light, and the image of the man and all the bit and all that had happened to him kind of got impressed like a photographic negative onto this material. That's why you don't see any pigment, because it wasn't painted on there, and that's why it has all the other stuff as well. And I think that's absolutely amazing. Now, in 1988, they tested the Shroud with radiocarbon dating, and 3 labs said it was from 1260 to 1390 AD, making it medieval, not ancient. And lots of people said, that's settled it, the Shrouds are fake. But hold on. Later, people found problems with that test. The piece they cut might have been from a repair done after a fire in 1532, not the original fabric. A chemist from Stirp, again, Raymond Rogers, checked it himself and said the sample's chemistry does not match the rest of the Shroud. Other studies hint at contamination, like bacteria or carbon monoxide throwing off the dates. To me, this isn't science disproving the Shroud. It's science stumbling, then stepping closer to the truth. I'm convinced it's from the time of Jesus, and the evidence is starting to agree. Also, the raw data from that carbon dating wasn't released until 25 years after. They wouldn't release it. So you've got to wonder whether the people who were doing the carbon dating, maybe they had a bit of an agenda, and when the results came out, they didn't question them enough and go back and look at them enough, because they were just happy the fact that the Shroud was a fake. So what does this mean for you, stepping into faith or coming back to it? If I'm right, if the Shroud is real, it's more than an old cloth. Excuse me, it's proof that you can touch a mark left from the moment Jesus broke free from death. I mean, you can't touch it because it's locked away in a vault, but I believe that image was burned into the linen right then, at the resurrection, a sign of what he did for us. Even if you're not sure yet, think about this. Science can't explain it away. Nobody's been able to recreate the Shroud. And every year it finds more reasons to call it true. For me, that's God leaving us something real, a way to see his promise in a world that doubts, at best, or at worst, and I use the word worst in inverted commas, it's a side effect of the resurrection. So as you grow in faith, let the shroud be something that can help. It's not just a mystery, it's a gift. Whether you take it as history or something holy, which I don't think it's not a holy thing to be praised or to be prayed to. It's nothing like that. It's just an object. It's a relic, I guess you would say. It points to the same thing. Jesus suffered, died, and rose for you, for me. That image, may be made in that glorious instant, can strengthen you when your path feels shaky. It's a bridge between what we study and what we believe, showing that the resurrection and Jesus isn't just a story, it's the truth that holds us. Let it guide you as you walk forward. There we go. What do you think, though? Please check out all the links you'll see in the description below this video, because they talk about it in much better scientific and spiritual terms than I ever could. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.